Hey guys, Dark here with a little bit of a different video than my normal format. Today we are going to talk about something I am super excited for. It's going to be a little bit freeform. I got lots of information rolled up into this. We are talking about the introduction of Leagues 5 Raging Echoes. This was announced during the Summer Summit. I'm super excited. This channel will be turning into a Leagues heavy channel as that starts rolling nearer and nearer, with prep videos, guides that I can think of myself, and maybe if you guys want to follow along, just tips, tricks, information, anything that I can find leading up to, and then during Leagues, of course, making content. I'm not going to be one of those creators who's going to be able to do daily content. My real life job, takes up too much time, but I will be making content throughout it. For you guys to hopefully enjoy while you are grinding out your own Dragon Cup. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Leagues 5 Raging Echoes. It is a confirmed launch of late November. General consensus is either the November 20th or 27th update. Personally, I am preferring the 27th update. It is Thanksgiving week for the United States, but means a little bit more time to be able to go through December and into the new year right now. They are only planning on doing a 6-week league. We'll see what happens. We know they've said 6 before and have extended it to 8. I know there are some pushback on whether or not 6 or 8 or longer or shorter is the right one. I personally would love an 8-week league, especially with 2 holidays being in that time frame, regardless of what they do. Getting into some of the more important details. So, first off, if you've never heard of Leagues, if you've never played a League, or you've only heard a little bit about it, you aren't really super familiar. Everybody is an Iron Man on fresh accounts, separate from the main world. You start in Lumbridge. In this League, you will have access to Lumbridge, and once you finish the tutorial, you'll gain access to the region of Karamja. In specific, regions will be locked. We'll talk a little bit more about that down the line. But regions will be locked. You'll have access to Miscellaneous and Karamja, being able to complete tasks and accumulate points, which will lead to more unlocks of relics and regions. As of right now, we will only have 3 additional regions to choose from, I believe it is 9 total regions, which is a good amount. Again, some would like more, some would like less. I'd prefer a 4th, but I know we're only going to get 3. And so then, as you unlock those regions, you'll get tasks to complete, and those points will rack up to give you, again, better relics, and also will allow you to purchase things from the reward shop after the event has closed. Getting into the rules. So, area locking, like I mentioned, they are making a area restriction a core part of Leagues going forward. So in Trailblazer 1 and Trailblazer 2, you were only able to access a total of 5 regions, Miscellaneous, Karamja, and 3 regions of choice. That will be a standard going forward, and we will have here that same layout with the addition of Varlamore. Currending Hebos was added to Trailblazer 2, Varlamore added to Trailblazer 3, the other regions being the Wilderness, Fremnik, Asgarnia, Mauritania, the Desert, Kandarin, Karanwin. Then, of course, things will be restricted based on what you have access to based on those regions. That does include Slayer tests and Clue Scrolls, Treasure Trails. Will only be able to be accessed by things that you have in your regions. Again, as I mentioned, you will be an Iron Man, and you will have accelerated XP. Previous leagues have started up 5 times, and that's where we're starting again. And then you'll continue to get more experience the further you go into the game. It usually gets up to about 12 or 16 times, depending on the league. I expect us to probably get up to 16 times again. You will have level 3 Herblore and level 5 Runecraft. Level 3 because they don't want to lock an entire skill behind you choosing Asgarnia. And level 5 Runecraft because the lowest altar available in Miscellaneous is the Water Altar, which unlocks at level 5. So you do need access to that. We will also have run energy being endless, so you will never run out of run. That is something that was brought from Trailblazer 1 to Trailblazer 2 and every run of League since. And we will get quest and diary unlocks to access certain things. So as an example, Druidic Ritual is unlocked in Miscellaneous, so you have access to Herblore immediately. Lost City, access scenarios as well with Miscellaneous, and that gives you the Drum and stuff as well, so that you can use fairy rings for free. Moving on from that, so here's what the region map looks like right now, and then again with the addition of Varlamore here, we unfortunately won't have the entire thing. We are missing this little bit right here, but we'll have all of Part 1 and Part 2 Varlamore added in. You may be familiar with this map from last League, but this will kind of give you an idea of what you're looking at. There are things on this map that have not been added in yet. For example, Araxor just released, or the zombies, armored zombies, and the wilderness zombies. But this kind of gives you an idea of what you're looking at for the regions themselves. Moving on to the relics. So this is where something a little different is going to take place. This is the relics from last League, Trailblazer Reloaded. As you can see, it is a mix of both skilling, utility, and combat. From the inference of what Mod Arcane said on the stream of the Summer Summit, we're going to get that a little bit changed this year. Instead of having one relic path, it sounds like we're going to have combat masteries are going to be the core of your combat power, and the system complements the relic system. So it sounds like it will be a separate path for combat relics, and then you'll have your skilling and utility. So we'll essentially have two relic systems, which should be really interesting. It allows possibly a bit more of a mixing of abilities, so you can pick your primary of like mage, range, or melee, then maybe have like a secondary relic that might boost, say, like your weaker one. So if you want to be like a major but still have really good melee specs, maybe something will help with that. So these basically will progress side by side, getting new boosts and effects. We don't really know what it is. I've seen some people posing like a combat tree, or possibly, again, it's just as simple as we have two relic paths that are maybe like 5 relics each. We don't know. We don't know the exact layout, but either way they do it, it's really nice to be able to have a focus on combat without affecting your skilling and utility relics. The other new thing with this is, as I said, the theme is Raging Echoes. We have the Echo Boss variants. So what it basically means is that they were going to choose one. They did say one or two on stream, but we'll go with one for now. One boss in each area that is going to have slightly different mechanics, a little bit different than what their normal combat would be, and they're going to drop best, like, new good loot. We do know right now that the DKs are for Fremnik based on the trailer, and then KQ for the desert is going to drop a range upgrade that you can read right here. Some of these items may serve similar purposes to the ones you've seen before, like the strong ranged weapon we're adding to Calfoy Queen's drop table, which competes with the best in slot gear found in other regions. So these items are going to be powerful, and they are going to be, again, brand new, never before seen in old school RuneScape. So don't expect it to be like, KQ drops a T-bow. It might be like a T-bow, but it isn't going to be the T-bow itself. We will know ahead of time what these bosses will be. All of them are going to be released ahead of time so you can plan. But their idea is kind of to make it so that you're not going on the same path you've always been. They don't want to have it where it's like, oh, range is, I want to do range, so I want to go to Korand, I want to go to Ascarnia, making it standard. They want to make it where you have options and you can think about it, and maybe you want to have a little bit more fun with it. You don't have to be missing out on the meta by doing something different, it's really cool. I really like the idea. I'm curious as to what the different mechanics are going to be. I can't imagine them making it too hard, but there is information that implies that these new bosses will be tasks. So I can't imagine them being easy necessarily. So we'll see how that works. Moving into rewards for this league. So as always, there will be the league's trophy that you'll get based on your tier, and as far as we're aware, it is going to be a static point threshold. They mentioned last league that that was going to be a continuous thing. Hasn't been actively stated, but the information is there that makes sense that it would be static. And then you'll get your leagues to leagues rewards, so things that you get in leagues, for instance, pets, right-click icons, or armor sets. Those will be transferred over. So if you did get, yourself a rock golem, it's going to be there for you to claim day one, right as league starts. Thankfully, that's what I got last year, my first pet in leagues. And for the record, pets are not just a drop rate. Pets are the same rate. Other rewards for it. So these are going to be the ones that we'll have to vote on for the polls in game. But what we're looking at right now is pretty standard to leagues. Of course, we'll have a league-specific banner, a home teleport animation scroll, and an outfit. And the outfit usually comes in 3 tiers. We'll have 2 player-owned house reskins, a new Portal Nexus skin, and a new death animation override. All pretty standard, nothing too crazy or too out of the norm. And then, of course, equipment ornament. So those are always the fun ones. We don't know any of them except for one right now. As you can see down here, they do have the art for a new Venator bow. Yeah, so it's really interesting. It's got skull, like a face mask, and it shoots with like blue projectile enemies and things like that. Looks really neat. I'm really looking forward to it for my own Venator bow. Moving over next into tasks. So again, tasks are pretty much going to be, as far as we're aware, standard. You can see here there are, there's 1,000. There are 1,500 tasks as of last league. I expect it to be obviously a little bit more because of Arlamore and other new content, but I expect it to be pretty much standard and on par with that. Probably I'd say they push it up even to like 1,700. Just trying to rehash tasks. I don't see why they wouldn't want to give us new options, give us something different to look at, something to try. I know that last year they tried to really redo tasks and make it so that we had something new to do. I expect a little bit of editing to the list, maybe not a ton of it, but they did do really good on adding some unique, interesting tasks. For instance, the tree to chop in the potato field. Let's see if we stop at a really good random one here. No, these are medium tasks. Here, try and feed a stray dog something exotic, something that just is a little different and wouldn't be something that you would just do by playing the game. Those are really nice. Moving into now, so these are things that were not announced during the stream. These are things we found out after the fact. Well, except for one of these. So the first thing that we know was announced by Arcane during the questions after the trailer video. TOA, Chambers, and Tob will all drop mega rares from the 3 of them. In specific, the T-Bow, the Scythe of Vitur, and the Shadow. All 3 of those will drop from any raid, so you're not restricted on being like, I need the T-Bow, I have to Karen, sorry. You can pick Mauritania now and get a T-Bow. Something that wasn't stated there, but has been mentioned in the by Mod Hootie, is that TOA and Tob will be able to roll uniques for multiple people this raid. So that means that you don't have to fight your friends to try and get the purple. If you have 4 people going to a Tob, all 4 of you can pull a purple, which is really, really nice change from previous leagues. it gives you a chance to actually get the things you want without having to fight each other for it. We also, if you were very into leagues and the prep up leading up to it, you may be familiar with this image here. These were the reveals and teasers the 14 days before leagues drop. And we kind of got a little bit of information about it, letting us know what was to come. It has been stated by Mod Hootie in the Discord. Of course, Mod Hootie lies a lot. He likes to build up hype and likes to build up tension. It has been stated by Mod Hootie that they are planning to do 15 days. Just a little interesting, fun thing. I assume that at least one of these teasers will be the information about what bosses will have an echo variant. But 15 days of reveals is definitely, I'd say, likely, which would be really nice. And then the last thing here, going back to this image of the relics here, so one thing they did mention is that they are going to rehash relics completely. So what we see here has been a combination of many leagues worth of good and bad relics appearing into what we have today. For instance, Endless Harvest is something that's been around for a long time, and they've refined it into the example it is now. Another example is the Last Recall, the passive perk up here, which was a relic and became so overpowered and commonplace that it became a standard. So things like that might return, some things might not return, but they said that a majority of relics are going to be rehashed and very few are going to make it back. So I would, again, I don't know if we're going to get 8 tiers. My guess would be like 5 and 5, like 5 combat based and then 5 skilling or utility based. But again, we'll see how they want to break it down. Just know that it is unlikely that most of the relics you see here will return. We should be getting some brand new stuff, some things that are completely different from what we've seen before. All right, and with that is the end of this video here. This is just kind of the very, very early stage info dump of things that we know and things that are kind of coming up. I do plan on making more fact-based videos as they come along. This is a lot of speculation. I'm going to do a lot of region reviews. I'd like to try and do like 3 region reviews of 3 regions each. So you can kind of get an idea of what's in them, skilling methods, drops, bosses, things like that. And kind of like giving you guys an idea of what you might want to consider. Again, everything could go out the window as we get more information. I could tell you, for instance, that, I don't know, Kandarin is great for, range, because you got the Armadillo Say, you got the ZCB, but then, they throw in that they get the God Wars dungeon bosses, or next maybe specifically drops the new best in slot mage weapon. And then we're sitting over here and realizing that I'd rather pick it for mage. So we'll see what happens. There's no current unlikely information up for another month or so. But we'll start prepping some region reviews, like I said, and maybe giving you guys a bit of help along the way. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on Leagues 5 Raging Echoes and what your early thoughts and feelings are. If you're excited for it, just let me know. Super hyped for it. And I will see you in the next one.